Hello, it is 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight headlines, we have the President of the Republic attends the 15th summit of BRICS and China-Africa Summit. For the international scene, Chandrayaan-3 lunar craft lands on the moon. Welcome to our newsroom. The BRICS Africa Summit opened this morning in Johannesburg, South Africa, with the participation of several leaders from Africa, Asia, and Latin America. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, took part in the summit alongside several African heads of state and government. The BRICS Summit, an economic alliance made up of China, India, Brazil, and Russia, along with the numerous countries from several continents and regions, to discuss significant opportunities for Africa in terms of economic development and strengthening its international relations, working together with the BRICS economies. The BRICS are thus intended to be alternative platforms for collaborations with African continents, seeking not only a fruitful partnership but also to discuss ways and means of further strengthening political and cultural ties between the participants. The summit provided an opportunity to exchange views in a number of areas, notably economic, but also encompassing issues relating to security, the promotions of regional peace and stability, and a more inclusive global economy. In yesterday's meeting, however, the BRICS announced their intention to admit new countries to the group on the basis of criteria established collegially by its members. Now listen to the first part of the speech of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh.
Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa, President of the Republic of South Africa, Excellencies, heads of states and governments, distinguished guests, leaders and guests. Firstly, I would like to express my appreciations to His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa, the President of the Republic of South Africa, and the people of South Africa for their warm welcome and hospitality during our visit to this beautiful country. On behalf of all members of IGAD, as well as myself, I would like to extend my gratitude to you, Mr. Chairman, for inviting me to attend this 15th BRICS Summit held in Africa under African chairmanship with a focus on our continent. The partnerships between BRICS and Africa goes beyond convenience. It is a strategic imperative. Together, we have the power to reshape the landscape, promote inclusive growth, and eradicate poverty. By joining forces, we can create a world where no nation is left behind, where prosperity is shared equally, and where sustainable development becomes reality. Africa possesses resources, and when combined with the technological capabilities and investment potential of BRICS, it opens up unparalleled opportunities for both regions. By allocating resources to infrastructure, energy, agriculture, and manufacturing sectors, we can generate employment opportunities, enhance productivity, and uplift millions from poverty. This is a moment to seize in order to establish connections, promote trade activities, and enable technology transfer that will ensure Africa's emergence as a global economic powerhouse. Djibouti stands as a committed partner and ally to BRICS nations. We are also supporters of the African Union-led efforts toward economic integration through the implementation of the African Comprehensive Free Trade Agreement. It is a step that places Africa in its rightful position within the global order. We appreciate your efforts to advance and strengthen the partnership between BRICS and the continent. In summits, we have already identified key areas of focus that contribute to a mutually beneficial partnership. Your leadership in enhancing the the relationship between BRICS and Africa serves as a motivation for us to make substantial contributions towards our shared goals and interests. Dear Chairman, IGAD commends the BRICS partnership for creating a platform that offers an opportunity to diversify the expand the global economic landscape. Undoubtedly, BRICS is a force with politically and economically. It is a success story evident from the growing number of countries aspiring to join this group, as well as the commendable performance of the new development bank with its extensive portfolio of projects aimed at maximizing development impact.
Now listen once again to the head of state, His Excellency Ismail Omar Gelle.
Delighted to announce that IGAD fully aligns with and supports the priorities outlined by the BRICS Chair for 2023. Specifically, Africa and IGAD aim to mobilize investment in order to develop infrastructure that connects parts of our continent, thereby boosting intra-African trade growth and value chains. Indeed, IGAD takes pride and being one of the fundamental elements of the African continent free trade area. Wholeheartedly welcome the important role that BRICS can play in supporting our collective endeavors as a continent to drive trade, investment, and infrastructure development within the context of this momentous undertaking. As we all know, it is widely understood that economic plans and agendas often falter without sustained commitment and financial backing. Therefore, we warmly embrace the opportunity to further explore and expand upon some of the ideas and decisions that were discussed during meetings of BRICS Africa Outreach BRICS Plus Dialogue in 2013 and 2018. We sincerely hope that the establishment will extend its support to Africa's effort in bridging the enormous infrastructure gap across our continent. According to data from the African Development Bank, Africa requires an annual investment of $170 billion for comprehensive infrastructure improvements. The combination of external shocks that have disrupted progress in many countries, along with high borrowing costs and increasing debt service obligations, has made it challenging for our economies to attract new financial resources. Africa, with its resources, youthful population, and untapped potential, has become a symbol of hope and opportunity. It is a continent that has faced challenges but continues to rise with resilience and determination. Today, Africa finds itself at a turning point where it can unleash its potential and make substantial contributions to the global economy. Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, at the core of the IGAD mandate is the obligation to strengthen multilateralism. Additionally, one of our principles is enhancing women's participation in peace process. Indeed, it is only last week that we launched the IGAD Women Peace and Security Forum as part of our own unwavering commitment harness the transformative power of women's contributions to peace building and conflict resolution. Finally, we support the call for reforms to the international architecture and address the ossification of inequalities, gaps, and inefficiencies. We need to relentlessly work together to ensure that the new architecture is reset to be relevant to today's global challenge. Let's take advantage of this partnership today to strengthen the ideals and spirit of growth so that we can pave the way for a brighter and more prosperous future for all our people. I thank you.
Now listen to Awa Abdi, our correspondent in Johannesburg.
Africa Summit was held here in Johannesburg in South Africa. Indeed, in this multicultural city considered to be the economic engine of the African continent, that the leaders of the BRICS emerging economies BRICS made up Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa meet with the leaders of African countries for the first time at the summit, which focus on consolidating their economy and raise their profile on the world stage. Under the theme BRICS Africa Collaboration for a Sustainable Future, the summit has brought together, in addition to the leaders of the bloc's member country, several African heads of state and government, including the President of the Republic's Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, who is leading a strong and large ministerial delegation. At the Stanton Convention Center in Johannesburg, BRICS leaders and African countries meet for a global summit, where BRICS leaders and those for other countries invited for the occasion discuss a range of issues, including economy, political and cooperation issues, with a view to promoting and balancing an inclusive world order. It should be noted that through this summit, the member countries of the BRICS group, initiators of high-level meetings, seek to further strengthen cooperation in various fields such as the economy, trade, innovation, science and technology, but also promote sustainable development, focusing on economic and environmental practice to address climate change, stimulating innovation, digitalizations, and technology to foster inclusive and balanced economic growth. BRICS, the acronym of the 5 emerging economies of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, was coined in 2001. Introduced by the chief economists at Goldman Sachs, the term refers to 4 major emerging economies at that time was Brazil, Russia, India, and China. In 2009, South Africa was invited to join the group, transforming BRIC into BRICS. The new about the BRICS in this year meeting is that some of 69 leaders from Africa, Asia, and Latin America have been invited to take part at the summit in South Africa. The majority of the host countries are from the African continent, with strategic and economic assets and abundant natural resources such as Egypt, Algeria, Djibouti, Ethiopia, and Angola. BRICS offer African countries opportunity for economic cooperation, investment, development, financing, and political dialogue. It contributes to Africa's economic and social development by strengthening ties with emerging countries and offering an alternative to a traditional financial institution. At the gateway to the Horn of Africa, the Republic of Djibouti, strategically positioned for international trade, has much to offer. Situated at the intersections of Africa, Asia, and Europe, the country offers unrivaled access to regional and global markets. The port of Djibouti is an exceptional location for investors and entrepreneurs wishing to explore opportunities in such as logistics, transport, infrastructure, telecommunications, energy, tourism, and much more. In conclusion, this BRICS Africa Summit, which was held for the first time here in Johannesburg, was an opportunity not only to establish a solid and beneficial partnership platform between the emerging economies of BRICS in Africa, but also a firm BRICS desire to expand the membership of new countries of this bloc for a future of mutual development and a balanced and more inclusive global economy. Abdi RTD, Johannesburg, South Africa.
Today, Thursday, the Prime Minister, His Excellency Abdulkader Kamil Mohammed, chaired a meeting with members of the National Anti-Terrorism Committee. The meeting aimed to closely monitor the progress made in preparing the evaluations process, the National Anti-Money Laundering and Terrorist Financing System. This assessment process was conducted by the Financial Action Task Force, which includes countries in Middle East, North Africa, and Djibouti's public and private institutions operating in the financial sector to develop and enhance activities in these areas by complying with the recommendations presented by the Attorney General, who was recently appointed as coordinator by Presidential Group, submitted a report on actions taken and steps in the process. The Minister of Justice, the Minister of Finance, Interior, Budget participate in this meeting, in addition to the Secretary General of the Prime Minister's Office, the Attorney General of the Republic, and the rest of the members of the Technical Committee to combat terrorism. At the end of the meeting, Prime Minister concluded the meeting by inviting all relevant actors to participate actively in order to facilitate the proper functioning of and success of its national assessment process. The Minister Abdulkader Kamil Mohammed, acting head of government, received this Thursday, August 24, in the lounge of honor of the Mr. Hussam Eddin Reda, ambassador of the Arab Republic of Egypt in Djibouti, for a farewell visit at the end of his mission in the country. On this occasion, Prime Minister Abdelkader Kamel Mohammed, acting head of government, and the Egyptian diplomat reviewed the various programs carried out jointly as part of the fruitful partnership in the two countries. Prime Minister congratulated the Egyptian diplomat on the remarkable work accomplished during his missions in Djibouti. He also wished the ambassador every success in his personal career. For his part, Egyptian ambassador Hussein Reda thanked the Djiboutian government and people for their legendary welcomes and hospitality extended to him during his tenure as Egyptian ambassador on Djiboutian soil. Also present was the head of the Prime Minister's office, Ali Silla Abdallah, the ambassador of the Arab Republic of Egypt to the Republic of Hussam Eddin Reda, presented his credential to the President of the Republic, Omar Gelle, on September 2021. The Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmed Rabel Ali, presided over the opening ceremony of the regional workshop on the management of the migrants' mortal remains in Djibouti at Campus Key Hotels on Monday, August 21, 2023. The ceremony was attended by the Secretary General of the Ministry of Interior, Siraj Omar Abdelkader, the International Organization for Migration representative in Djibouti, Ms. Tanja Pacifico, and the WHO representative in Djibouti, Reinhard van der Weert, organized jointly with the Minister of Health, the Minister of Interior, and the Djibouti Office of the International Organization for Migration. The main aim of the meeting was to outline cases of actions that could be taken to facilitate the establishment of a network of stakeholders who could work together to meet the challenges of missing migrants in the region. He praised the remarkable work of the teams in the interior regions who are on the front lines in managing the mortal remains of migrants. For his part, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Interior, Siraj Omar Abdelkader, said that the workshop is part of the necessary coordination between the various stakeholders and, above all, the pooling of all our efforts and resources and all parties involved in order to better identify the difficulties and challenges to be overcome in order to provide a rapid response to the identifications of deceased migrants through the development of relevant and realistic recommendations, enabling the implementations of concrete actions in the short, medium, and long terms on the issue of managing the mortal migrants in Djibouti. In his speech, the Minister of Health, while welcoming the collaboration relationship between the Ministry of Health and OM Djibouti, welcomed participants from countries in the regions to Djibouti, a land of welcomes and hospitality. The workshop is part of the necessary coordination between the various stakeholders to better identify the difficulties and challenges to be overcome in order to provide a rapid response to the identification of deceased migrants. The Center for Trainings and of the Fundamental Schools, Omar Gelle Ahmed, is hosting training sessions for a pool of trainers on art on 5th and 5th grade French teachings and learning materials. The training, which runs from August 23 to 24, was launched by the CFF Acting Director General Awad Abdelkader Hirsi and the FHI 360 national experts Nasser Ahmed Aden, some 30 pedagogical advisors, Cripens textbook designer, and CFF trainers are taking part in the trainings, which is led by the FHI 360 national expert Nasser Aden Ahmed. The training aims to consolidate last year's achievement and improve the use of experimental textbooks, booklets, and teachers' guides designated by CRIPEN in relation with the General Inspectorate of General Education in the subject of the French for 5th and 4th grade classes. The return match victory for the Arta Solar Arta Solar the Horset teams from Somalia by 3 goals to 10. The flagships Solar 7 team repeated its victory this afternoon beat the Somali teams Horset by 3 goals to 0 in the first league. Arta Solar beat Horset 3-0. Arta Solar qualified for the second CAF preliminary round and faces the Egyptian teams in the second within the framework of the World Championship of Budapest 2023, according to the selectionist Muhammad Ismail Ibrahim, an Olympic athlete specialist of the half make 5,000 meters and 3,000 in the steeple wins several titles, 5 gold medals, 2 silver medals, and 2 bronze medals since 2015. Finally, our last performance, Muhammad Ismail won 3 medals back successively. Our brilliant athletes will participate was qualified for this in Budapest for 5,000 meters, and not forgetting that our 2 competitions athletes within the 2023 editions of the Tojora Triathlon fast approaching Obox triathletes are preparing enthusiastically this hugely popular sporting event to ensure that everything goes off without a hitch. Deputy Director is Ali to held meetings with the local athletes for a final update on the organizational details. The meeting enabled the athletes to discuss their expectations and clarify certain practical aspects of the competition. Also discussed was the importance of regular training in order to be in top shape for the competition. It's important to remember that already hosted second editions of the triathlon last year, which enabled local athletes to familiarize themselves with the demands of the competition and develop their triathlon skills. This past experience will certainly be an advantage for Obox participants this year. As a result, for Obox people are ready to embark on the test of the Tojora triathlons with the confidence and determination they have done, but that utmost to prepare themselves as well as possible, and are now looking forward to demonstrating their skills and illustrating in these exciting competitions. And for the internationals, just 1 day after Russia's lunar spacecraft, the Indian mission is to reach the moon's south pole enters its critical phase. India's space agency is closing to land a spacecraft on the moon's south pole, with the implication for countries standing as space powers and for future lunar exploration. The Chandrayaan-3 mission was launched on July 14 of India's main spaceport in the southeastern state of Andhra Pradesh. And this is it for the news. Thanks for joining us. Have a good evening.